Hi, everyone. We're here today to talk about Thanksgiving Day and a special psalm that struck Pastor Dan's attention.
So we're going to talk about Psalm 100, and the phrase that it starts out with that I like is, make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. So that's kind of our theme here, and we got some ways to bring it out, I think, this morning that'll be a little fun.
We brought along some things that make noise that are joyful. First of all, this noise. What do you think of when you hear that? When I hear that, I think, attention, somebody wants you. There's something coming. They're calling you to something. And so when I think of Thanksgiving, it's like bringing to attention the fact that God has something in store for me. God has something that he wants me to look forward to. You know, when you think of the things that you're thankful for and you recognize that God has blessed you, it makes you kind of live in anticipation for what's coming next. Like you might hear this sound and think, oh, what's happening? What's coming? It's a great way to live.
I like that. All right, so mine that I had for a sound is this. That is what wakes me up every single morning. So that's my little get up. The day is starting. So it's this nice, gentle, peaceful tone. I used to have these really jarring alarms that woke me up. And so now that my phone has made it possible, I have that just nice little thing that says the day is coming. What has God got in store for you? Go ahead and kind of gently bring yourself into the day and see what God's got.
There are things to look forward to today.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have to look forward to, that a sound that is joyful for me, is the ringtone on my phone. Oh yeah, I brought along my phone. Okay. This is my phone from when we lived in the farmhouse, and this is the ringtone. And whenever we heard that, we knew someone was calling us. And the great thing about it was that you never had to wonder, where's my phone? Because it was screwed to the wall in the middle of the house. And you could just run there, and if it was someone you wanted to talk to for a while, well, then you could say, hold on a second, I'm going to find my other phone, which oftentimes they were not on the cradle, the charging cradle. You never knew where they were, but you could find it then. The other great thing about this phone and this ringtone is that you could do this, and all the phones in the house would ring. Upstairs, in the garage, everywhere. So if you didn't know where someone was, you could just walk to this phone and do your family intercom and get everybody in the house onto the phone where they were close. And it's kind of a reminder for me of how Thanksgiving Day is a connection between people. You know, maybe you're going to call them, or maybe they're coming over to the house and you're reconnecting. You have this community, and it's part of the holiday for which I'm very thankful.
Nice. Okay, so my other is also on my newer school phone. That's the old school phone. The newer school phone. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. A little bit. So this is the other sound that I hear sometimes. That is not that's not really my alarm. That is the timer that goes off on my phone. And so I have these timers that are set oftentimes to remind me of different tasks. Now, what's interesting is the person who most sets my timer is not myself, but my daughter, because she has something she wants me to remember to do. Oftentimes it's, hey, Dad, I need laundry tomorrow, otherwise I will have no clothes, so I put them in the wash. I set your timer for an hour so that you can go put them in the dryer after I went to bed. So, you know, it reminds me there's things to do. God's got tasks for us, and it's part of care for family. You talk about connection with family. So.
Yeah, that's a great way to remind yourself that God has you here for others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last one I've got is this. I got it out of my boat. Now, my boat's about 40 years old, and not everything works on that boat anymore. And Minnesota has this law that if your horn doesn't work, you got to have one of these. It's called an air horn. This particular noise is very, very loud. So kids might want to do this. It'll probably blow off the meter on our, here's the noise. Are you ready?
That's great. That's great.
But to me, this noise means fun, because come on, you're on a boat. And that's what Thanksgiving Day is for me too. We will play games, we will have fun, we will laugh, we will enjoy what God has given us, because that's part of being thankful, is to enjoy what he's given you.
Okay, so the psalm, again, make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. And so we explored a bunch of noises. It continues with serve the Lord with gladness, come into his presence with singing. And so I was starting to think, okay, we've got all these different noises we're surrounded with. We gave you a sampling of them. Hopefully not too many air horns in your day. But what does it look like? What is the psalm actually trying to encourage us? How is it encouraging us in terms of making a joyful noise? And it talks about specifically singing. And so that really got my mind going in terms of thinking, how did I learn about making a joyful noise and song growing up? So I was blessed or cursed, you can define it however you want, with a loud Borkenhagen voice. The congregation probably is familiar with that. The sound people certainly are familiar with my dynamic range, right? And when I was little, I remember, I had a loud voice, my dad had a loud voice, but I especially remember kind of being proud when we would go back and visit my grandpa Borkenhagen. We always sat in the balcony at church, and he had a loud Borkenhagen voice. My uncle had a loud Borkenhagen voice. You add to that my dad's and mine, and we would sing with gusto. Well, as I got a little bit older, I realized we had loud voices, but we did not have pretty singing voices. We were out of tune and out of pitch with everyone else. And so I started to feel a little bit embarrassed and kind of like, I wish we would be quieter and tamp it down. But as I got a little bit older than that, so that's those, obnoxious adolescent years, right? But as I got a little bit louder, it started to kind of hit me. That was actually kind of cool. That everyone in my family sang so loudly, regardless of whether or not it was the most beautiful pitch, they knew that God had given them such grace and love that they wanted to sing and make a joyful noise.
They wanted to respond.
They
back
wanted
to
to
God.
respond back to God.
And all
they
the
were
congregation
excited.
said, the Borkenhagens are
The
here.
Borkenhagens are in town. Absolutely. Extra Borkenhagens.
Extra Borkenhagens.
But it was kind of a beautiful thing that I learned from them, that it was not tamp it down, keep a lid on your joy, but just make a joyful noise to the Lord, praise him.
How are you going to make a joyful noise?
What are
this
some ideas?
Thanksgiving
What could
Day?
they do? Yeah.
One thing that families often do is out loud give thanks, maybe in the form of a conversation or a prayer where they go around the table and everybody says
Absolutely.
something or some things
Yeah,
they're
that's
thankful
common,
for.
right?
You could even have a group refrain from the psalm.
The Lord is good, his steadfast love endures forever, right?
Yeah, let's say that together. The
Lord
Lord
is
is
good,
good,
his
his steadfast love endures forever. Or you can even cut out the steadfast and just say his love
Yeah,
endures forever.
sure.
That's easier to remember.
That's true.
And after everybody says what they're thankful for, the whole group could say together loudly
good.
with Borkenhagen gusto,
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
the Lord is good, his love endures forever.
See? There we
That'd
go.
be a loud noise of rejoicing before the Lord.
Maybe you want to take the challenge, the Borkenhagen voice challenge, to sing a little bit louder in church. You don't have to get to the loudest volume, but maybe you're like, okay, I was singing kind of a softer tone. Maybe turn up your volume a little bit. Or, even like a lot of people drive around and listen to music, Christian music. Maybe the joyful noise is turning up the volume of your thing and singing along with it in your car at least or something. But just this idea of a joyful noise, that's something that changes your pattern a little.
Or reading a devotion out loud or playing this when the family gets together so that it is kind of tangible and present and to the Lord and aloud.
The last thing I was kind of thinking of is when we think about volume and loud and voices, it's very tangible. And there's the scripture that talks about worshiping the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. And the strength to me is body, right? It's using your body. And so maybe one of the things you could try out a little bit is, how can I use a little bit more of my physicality, my body in worship? So we're used to standing and sitting, but there's other things that we could do. If you want to be very Lutheran but still use your body, you can bow a little bit. You could make the sign of the cross or something like that. Or you could stretch yourself and maybe clap in worship, whether it's to give thanks for something that, a special musical offering, or whether it's just along with the music. Even if you want to keep it, a little bit, restrained, at least tap your side or something like that. But the idea is just to push ourselves a little bit to say, hey, the Psalms do talk about making a joyful noise. How could I start to do a little bit more of that?
And in today's culture, clapping is really a natural expression of thank you. I think this is great.
Yeah. So a couple of thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed that. You enjoyed our noises, and that it grows you and stretches you and connects you to Jesus this Thanksgiving. God bless.
God bless you.